Okay, sweet. We're live.
Never a dull day in the Titan X ecosystem.
Right, we're in the last day of Vault auction. That's ending in like I think 10 minutes, and now
Oh,
Farms is very, very, very urgent. All right, people
I
are popping up.
actually, I actually was so busy today because I've been on a call with Dave, Awesome X, setting up, getting ready to deploy the contracts for a second time for Awesome X, that I actually even forgot that Bolt is ending in 10 minutes. What a crazy time!
Oh, the timing is perfect. Vault is ending now. Titan Farms is imminent
Okay,
today.
today? Holy shit!
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got to
Yeah,
get
we
more.
already have 74 people on. That's good. People are starting to hop in.
Sweet. So what's the story? What is going on? It's launching today, as in today UK time.
Yep. So the farming contracts are going to be deployed, and then I think starting tomorrow, think commissions are going to start coming out. So people have time to prepare their LP positions. The UI is going to be live. Eric is probably going to announce like what the links are, etc. But farms contracts are being deployed. Farms are going to go live, and then from starting tomorrow, think commissions should start emitting. So farms October 8th.
Oh man, people aren't going to know what to do tomorrow. Um, there's not even a white paper dropped or anything yet, is there?
Nope, just the streams. So a quick summary on Titan Farm. So Titan Farm is going to enable farming on pretty much the entire ecosystem within build on Titan X, and it's going to give people an incentive token. So it's going to be called a Titan Farms Incentive Token,
Think.
TINC, and it's a farming token that has a buy and burn. One token gets emitted every 1 second, so 12 tokens per block, because every block is 12 seconds. And the UI is great. So I just hopped off a call with Eric and team. UI is great, buy and burn is great, contracts are great. They did the final audit with Pushov, which is a massive, like one of the best smart contract audits and one of the most expensive. And they didn't find anything severe at all. Like we went through the audit together on the call. So epic.
Yeah. So
Today is a big day.
like, what for you as the lead man in the ecosystem? How big of a thing is this for the whole ecosystem?
Massive. So this does a lot of things. Main thing that this does is it allows people to earn yield on the tokens that they otherwise would just hold. Now, usually when you provide liquidity on Uniswap v3, it's concentrated liquidity. So you run the risk of the price outrunning you and you being stuck with other coin that you didn't really want.
Yeah.
So now people are going to be able to provide liquidity on pretty much all the high volume pairs within the build on Titan X ecosystem, earn a farming token that they can use to recompound, etc. You can do a lot of interesting things with the farming token. Another cool thing with that you'll be able to do with Tink is you'll be able to also lock it up in a incentivized Tink pool. So there's going to be a Titan X Tink pool, so people can earn Tink, put it back in the Titan X Tink pool, locking more Titan X off of market, making them earn more yield. And there's a bunch of things. So we did some calculations. If the volume on the ecosystem stays very similar to where we are now, then the buy and burn volume coming from liquidity fees that are used to buy and burn Tink are bigger than all the thing that comes out in the first year. There's never ever been a farming token like this ever done before. Like it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, is that because the volumes on these tokens are so high?
Yes, but also like usually farm tokens are just, hey, you get this for free for providing liquidity. You come to the platform, you put your V2 tokens or whatever.
Yeah.
Another unique thing with Titan Farms, it's V3. But the cool thing about Titan Farms, it's only supports V3 full range positions. So people cannot come in, put a sell wall up, and then earn incentives on that sell wall. They can only earn incentives if they provide two sides of the pair. So, for example, if you do,
is that done anywhere else, or is that a new thing?
I think that's a new thing. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's a new thing because by forcing full range liquidity, you make it easier for the price to move, and people eat way less impermanent loss. Because for you to have massive impermanent loss on a full range position, the price needs to move massive. I'm talking like 50x, etc., before you really get out of position. So full range will allow people to basically keep their tokens. It will spread liquidity across the ecosystem, lock Titan X up, and build on Titan X tokens up, and all these liquidity pools, meaning that they can be sold. Forces it full range, So one of the upsides and downsides that you have of V3 is these concentrated liquidity providers. They come in and they keep the price within a range until they're bought out, essentially. This is going to force them to go full range, which will make it easier for the price to move. They get rewarded for doing so because Think is probably going to outperform whatever liquidity providing fees you get. Because now if you're in a concentrated liquidity position on V3 without the farms, wait, why am I dark? Okay, interesting.
Because we're disappearing into the matrix. The system can't cope.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's going to be almost impossible to outperform Think because now not only are you competing with concentrated liquidity providers, you're also competing with people going into the farms. Now, the cool thing with the farms is there's going to be one NFT per pair. So, for example, Titan Dragon X, let's use that as an example. The NFT is going to be owned by the smart contract, so it can be rugged or it's locked liquidity, essentially. And then when you go to the platform, you'll have to supply the 2 tokens. So this is massive for user experience because usually how these V3 farms work, from what I've seen, is you go to Uniswap V3, you create the position yourself, and then you go to the farming thing and you give the NFT to the farm.
Okay,
this is different.
Yeah, so let me get that right. You're going to create the farms is creating the one NFT for the liquidity position initially.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And then you go in with your tokens, and then based on your tokens compared to everybody else's tokens, you get a percentage of the farm of the liquidity.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's fairly distributed, and instead of people having to create NFTs and pay massive gas fees, the contract takes that gas fee burden, and then people just pay the gas fee to send the tokens to the NFT, and they get their share of that liquidity position.
Holy shit! Again, is that again?
Never done before.
Yeah, that's not the way it usually works, man. That's pretty epic.
It is, and the audits are good.
Yeah, because I seen a post, Eric. I think it was Eric posted yesterday, saying that farms has not been done like this before. And I kind of read it. It was like, oh yeah, what on earth can you do that's new? And this sounds like some real cool innovation. Again.
Yep. So the user experience is better with the NFTs in the smart contract. Everybody gets a percentage of their liquidity. They get Think farms, and then the Think is a token that gets bought and burned based off of external liquidity, which is liquidity fees generated from the positions within the farm.
Okay, so how does that compare to the Pulse, the famous Pulse X buy and burn? How does that compare to that?
Oh, this is way better because like that, it's a farming token that is essentially just designed to exist. Essentially, Think will be bought and burned, and I think we're going to see Think. I
know it sounds
no
weird
pun
when you keep saying it over and over again.
Right.
I think Think will be good if there's
this will create a very interesting so the builders within our ecosystem are extremely smart. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something built that will use Think as a buy and burn on their token. So there's a lot of interesting things that can happen there. So what could happen is people supply 2 tokens to a smart contract. That smart contract creates another token, like Dragon X, for example, and then uses the Think it gets from farming rewards to buy and burn that token. I can definitely see things like that being built in the future. There's a lot of ways this can go, but this has longevity because of the buy and burn.
So explain the buy and burn again, just because there's a lot of people starting to join. Explain how the buy and burn works again.
So the buy and burn works there is a distinction between 2 types of tokens within the farms. So you have something called input tokens and just general tokens. So like, for example,
there's going to be 4 input tokens to begin. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Eric is going to confirm this, but the input tokens that I know of are Titan X, Dragon X, Hyper, and Hydra. So those are input tokens. So what happens with input tokens is there's a specified burn percentage. So the liquidity fees will get burned. So you have an external burner on these protocols, and people get incentivized with Think. But these input tokens have a burn percentage and they have a buy and burn percentage. So for example, if you set the burn percentage to 20% and the buy and burn percentage to 80%, that means let's use Titan X for example, if the farm collects 1 billion Titan X, it would burn 200 million, in this case 20%, and the other 800 million would buy Think and burn it. So the liquidity fees for the input token specifically don't get given to liquidity providers, but they get overly incentivized with a essentially deflationary farm token. And this is one of the massive innovations within the smart contract. They have this thing called a swap pad. So what could happen with Think? A swap pad. So let's assume the 800 million Titan X gets used to buy and burn things. So it can take a couple of routes. It can go Titan X stink burn thing, or it can go Titan X buy Dragon X buy stink, and then burn stink. The swap path can be configured within the smart contract to route it, like we all do with our fancy ass buy and burns. So this will have some massive effects on the ecosystem because there's some very interesting things that can be played there. Input tokens can be added in the future. So those are just the 4 that the smart contract is starting with.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's use another example. Let's use input token and general token. So like Titan X Volt, for example. So Volt in this case would not be an input token, which means that liquidity providers that go into that part of the farm will earn Volt fees, but not the input Titan X fees, because Titan X is considered an input token. And there's also going to be a token pair where it's like 0 input token. So it's just a normal liquidity position where you earn liquidity fees and think. But the farms that have the input tokens also get overly incentivized because you give up a small percentage of your liquidity fees for to feed the buy and burn of Think, and you lock up tokens, etc. So you get overly incentivized with Think and those pairs.
Okay, so you just mentioned lockup periods. What way is the lockups going to work?
Oh, there's no lock.
I can't believe this is there's like no information out on this yet. It's just it's dropping. So sorry, what's the lockup periods? Is it any
0? There's no
0?
lockups. I call it the lockup because it takes the tokens, locks them in liquidity pool, so a user doesn't have the ability to sell unless they go back out of the position.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, obviously, things like 9inch were offering people massive bonuses for, locking up for over a year, kind of stuff like that. Is there any features like that? Or it's just straight in, straight out, anytime you want?
Straight in, straight out, whenever you want.
Nice. I kind of like that. You just, enter in and out. It's going to be crazy busy tomorrow or today. Like, is it launching? Is it going to be active for people within hours, or are we going to have to wait maybe 10, 12 hours?
It'll be live within this day. Let's put it that way. And Eric is going to post the actual sites and stuff.
Okay.
Which is why I urge you on Twitter, because
Yeah.
I'm taking over the marketing for Titan Farms. As Eric is sick, he can barely talk.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say on that. Just how is Eric doing? He's been, I've had sent him a couple of messages the last few days, but he seems pretty bad. Hopefully he's okay, is he?
He seems like he's recovering, which is good, but he was definitely not okay.
Yeah,
but he's a fighter, Farms out. That's it.
to have been building this for so long, to be sick whenever it's launching, it's kind of a bummer. But maybe the launch and the success will give him a bit of extra energy to recover.
Exactly. Yeah. So Eric is also going to stream, but I'm taking over the launch marketing now since he can't. But I'm excited for farms, man. This is going to do a lot for the ecosystem because in the future, other pairs can also be incentivized. So, for example, Inferno Titan X can be incentivized. All the core tokens can be incentivized. So, like, we made this tweet around like kingdoms of Titan X. So you have the Dragon X kingdom, Helios kingdom, Inferno kingdom, which is meme-fi, which is very interesting. Then you have Volt kingdom and whatever. I put it on Twitter. So you can incentivize all these core tokens, which will take the entire kingdom up with them. There's very, very interesting secondary results that a farm creates that are not just, hey, incentivize liquidity providers. There's just like a lot for the ecosystem, and I think it's going to attract a hell of a lot of whales in, because you get whales in through 2 methods. One is you increase liquidity amongst all pairs, so whales have to eat less and less slippage as time goes by, so they operate with larger position sizes, which increases volume, which provides more buy and burn to Think, which drags more people in. And then whales, they love these V3 full range positions because they can take 2 tokens they like, put them in a V3 full range farm, earn rewards on it without massive risk of impermanent loss. So you're going to get a hell of a lot locked up.
They could get massive volumes locked up in those pools, like serious volumes, just for the first place that we can actually go and not have to play around with liquidity positions and take the hit on impermanent loss. It's a very well educated ecosystem on single-sided liquidity and all that. And like you say, that has its benefits. It also has its risks, and it also has its time management. This makes it kind of a lot simpler and easier for a lot of people to participate in this, and especially with these people building big positions. Sorry, I was just looking there. The Volt is ending in seconds here. The ROI for the day is down to 4%. It's just 3, 2, 1, done. Volt day 10 just finished.
2 trillion.
They brought in 2 trillion. Was that today? It just disappeared. It was over 2 trillion for the day.
Damn, Volt has crushed it, man.
These stats and everything are getting crazy. It's like, okay, so Inferno came out, did the business, kind of set some new standards. Volt's come out, it's took it to another new level again. We're only just going to be catching our breath here from that, and the farm is going to launch tomorrow or today, and I think that's going to bring some other crazy stats that we've never even seen or thought could be possible before.
Yep. I also just saw this comment. That has asked, so the dude behind you is that thing? No, this is honest work farmer. You don't know that meme? Everybody knows that meme. It ain't much, but it's honest work, you know? It's like the farming meme.
Oh, that's Ted.
Yeah,
who's the dude behind you?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, farm's launching today, which is why I was so urgent on the stream.
Okay,
there's a lot of follow-through effects, and the stats are going to be staggering. Like, you have a lot of stats to look at in UI.
So let me ask then, people want to prepare. They've got the four tokens that are going to be active first. Can you come with one token and play, or do you need 2 tokens to play?
You need 2 tokens. So for example, if you want to provide for, I think Volt Titan-X is going to be one of the pairs as well. That's going to be there at launch, because I saw it in a spreadsheet when we did the call. It's not confirmed, but I think that's the plan. Because they also want to make clear that they want to support ecosystem tokens, and it's not just a Dragon X specific thing. So that's why they put Volt in there. And then, yeah, so for example, if you want to provide on Volt Titan-X, you go 50% Volt, 50% Titan-X. And you go into the liquidity position. Yeah, you can't just do 1 token, because then it would have to sell down, etc. So you come in with 2 tokens, since it's full ranged.
So everybody has to, just so people know what they get prepared for. If you want to provide, so we've got possibly Volt, we have Titan-X, Titan-X, Dragon X, Hydra, and Hyper. So you're going to have to come along with any 2 of those tokens and provide 50% of each token to enter into any of the farms.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yep. And I saw the UI. The UI is very simple. So you'll go to the UI, you'll click on the cards. So you have a card for every liquidity position. So you click in the cards, and then you just add what I think is called deposit. So you deposit, and then you just have 50%.
I'm looking forward to just seeing the UI with all the.
It's pretty clean.
Yeah.
You'll see your APR, etc. One of the things they're also working on is they're going to add a calculator. So there's a big difference between APR and APY. So APR is like the set emissions if you don't move the position and you don't compound. That's APR. So APR can be like 100%. But then APY is different. APY assumes daily compounding. So you can take your think reward. You can, like, let's say you provide in Titan-X, Dragon X. So you have Titan-X, Dragon X. You earn think. Then you can sell that thing 50% Dragon X, 50% Titan-X, and go back into the position. That would be considered a compound. That's APY.
You can do that. Can you do that without, like, auto compounding? Can you do that without exiting your position? You can keep lumping in?
Don't think so. I think you're going to have to do it manually.
Okay.
Yeah, but the difference is massive. So it could be 150% APR, but then APY could be 600%. So they're going to add a calculator in to show you, okay, what's the compounding, etc., to kind of calculate it. A lot of farms, this is one thing they figured out. A lot of farms show incorrect calculations on the UI.
Yeah,
because they show APY without mentioning that it requires compounding to get to that number. So it's very, very like misleading marketing, extremely misleading marketing. So it'll show APR, and then the calculator will likely show you if compounded what the API is, APY.
Okay, and then think, where does it come from? How does it get created, and how does it get emitted?
Yep. So every farm, so there's one thing created every second. And that one thing gets distributed towards all the farms based on weight. So you can have one farm that's, let's assume there's 10 farms, they all have 10%. So if 100 thing gets created, 10 thing gets sent to each farm.
Okay.
Well, gets distributed to each farm, and then you get a percentage of that thing based on your percentage of that farming position.
Oh, that's cool. Love it. Okay, so there's got to be is there like a start number, or it doesn't start from 0, does it? I think. Is there a start number, or is there like a initial emission that goes straight out?
Yep. So there is going to be a initial ratio, but there's not going to be an initial amount of coins minted. So the pools are going to be created with initial ratios with Think, so that when users start providing liquidity, they provide liquidity with that initial price, but the liquidity will get created by the user. So there's no Think minted from the start.
Sorry, explain that to me again. I don't understand that bit. I don't understand how can it start with no Think created at the beginning? It doesn't it, there's not enough created to pay everybody at the start. So how does that happen?
Oh, it just gets created like one Think every second. But what I'm trying to say is for the initial pools, it's going to be tight next Think, and then that initial price for Think gets set at launch. So it'll start at one Think is 100,000 tight next. So that's roughly 9.7 cents now per Think. Yeah, it's 100,000 tight next per one Think at launch.
And will that price go up or down, do you think, for Think?
Don't know. Depends on the volumes, the buy and burns, etc. So that's going to be up to the gods, basically, at that point. That's going to be very hard to calculate. But you're going to be able to calculate the estimated buy pressure over a year if you like average out, okay, the last 14 days, what was the average buy pressure generated from liquidity fees on Think, and then extrapolate that over a year. That's going to be a very interesting statistic to look at. It's not on UI, but I'll probably do it. This has never been done before, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, you've everybody in the ecosystem has built pretty solid stuff before. You guys have been working on this for a long time. Even some of the things that you're talking about, the innovations with just like your contracts creating the initial NFT for the liquidity position, that's huge. It just seems, I don't know the ins and outs of it exactly, but it seems to make things a hell of a lot simpler. It's just another thing you see all the time. You just, constantly having, many transactions you have to do to enter into a liquidity position, whereas this sounds like it could make things like that very, very simple for the user.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because like Uniswap v3 liquidity is relatively confusing, especially if you're new. But these farms, you'll go to the UI, you take the two tokens you want, 50-50, and then you just provide them to the farm, and then the farm takes care of everything. So user experience is by far one of the easiest user experience farming platforms on Uniswap v3, because v2 is like 50-50 anyway. But like on Uniswap v3, I don't think this has ever been done like this before.
I certainly haven't heard of it before. There's a lot of people in the comments asking when white paper. Do you expect that to be dropped before the launch, or will this thing just hit the ground?
That's a good question. That's up to Eric. I know the white paper is going to be linked on the UI, so I know the white paper is there. He might post it before. Yeah, because this is all last minute. They just finished the last audit with Pashov, and we went through it. There's nothing game breaking at all in there. And then there's one trade-off with the TWAP price that we have a fallback in case TWAP is not enabled on a certain pair. It falls back to just a normal buy and burn, like the buy and burn V2. So that was in the audit. Other than that, that's it. And there's been 2 audits. So Dead Rose did one, and then Pashov. These guys are like the best auditors in the game, essentially.
And that one was only finished today. I know just from building myself, I know that by the time you're coming to the end of the second audit, you kind of already have everything checked. When you're coming to the end, you'll have already had the first report back, fixed anything that might have needed to be done. So yeah, we're always in Accelerate and Blaze. We've always been ready to launch these things as soon as the second audit. As soon as the second auditor goes, yep, we're good. You're pretty much ready to deploy the contracts and just start running with it. So that's good to hear. I mean, this is going to be big for the community. There's just so many plays every day. I'm involved in with working with Scotty Blaze, Irish Crypto. And even for the first week of Flux, I didn't even have time to kind of sit down and have a look at Flux, look at anything. It's only been the last few days that I just even, been there playing in the auctions there. And that's actually been very, very profitable. But this is just another thing, people creating their Hydra miners, creating their hyper miners, playing in the Blaze auctions, entering the Volt auctions. It's just every day there's something new going on, and things, not even talking about price appreciation, the price of tokens, just, playing the ratios, playing this game here, and doing your Helios plays. There's just so much going on. And this is another, it's relentless. The opportunities are relentless. And this one's going to be massive for everybody and for everybody in the whole ecosystem.
Man, this ecosystem is insane. Another thing is like since Vault launched, everybody kind of forgot about Hydra. Meanwhile, Hydra has been absolutely fucking crushing it in the background. Like while during the Vault launch, I think an extra 5 trillion went into Hydra. So Hydra is now at 21 and a bit trillion that has entered Hydra.
That was probably
And nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, that was probably, you did say on a stream too, when everybody's looking at one thing, was it maybe you and Mo were talking about it, when everybody's looking at one thing going on in the community, turn your eyes the other way and look at everything else, because there's opportunities everywhere else as well. That's kind of why I started looking at Flux when everybody was I'd got my Volt position, and thought, you know, now that I've got that built, I'm sitting there, I'll go and have a nice little look at what's going on. And Flux, you know, my two of my best buddies built it, and they didn't even have time to start playing with it yet. But yeah, the last couple of days have been pretty lucrative over there. And probably it's again something that a lot of people aren't talking about.
100%. Another one is the little bull behind you.
Sorry, my community manager is trying to call me there. My community manager doesn't even realize I'm live on stream. That's how urgent this one was. Sorry, what were you going to say there?
I said the little bull behind you is also relatively underrated currently.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. These, yeah, there's been a few. Been a few big clips of bought Inferno in the last few days. A couple of big massive buys going in. People see the potential there. And again, it's public now. You know, the Verse is the builder for the Verse, and GooGod are the builders for, we're building the project, but they're the guys leading the charge here with Alien X. The white paper was dropped on that a couple of days ago. It's weeks away as well. It's weeks away. So yeah, that's going to help there's a lot of moving parts in that, and that's going to help the Inferno, the whole MemeFi Inferno kingdom that's going on. This is I really do love this thing that everybody's, you know, calling it the kingdoms now.
Right?
Which kingdom are you going to go play in?
Exactly, yeah. And MemeFi is interesting. Like something like MemeFi, where everything is symbiotic and works together, also has never been done before. So, like, I'm actually very intrigued to see how that will play out.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. There was so much chat in the tokenomics and the building of Alien X. How can it actually, you know, try to pump its own coin, but how can it help all the other tokens that it's in? Obviously Inferno is the big one, but there was a lot of thought and a lot of chat went back and forth into how does it not just help itself, but how does it help Inferno? You know yourself, all these projects all intertwining. I don't think it's been done before anywhere. I haven't seen it happening, but there's a lot of effort going in by all the builders to see what they can do to help other projects. That's why I think Alien X, the white paper, may have had a little change. I think they were tweaking it last night. I think it's a straight up 20% Titan X burn. Titan X in, it's a straight up burn of 20%. I know you called for that. I remember you a few weeks ago saying, builders, what size are your balls? Who's going to step up? Who's going to step up and burn 20% Titan X? And I think the Verse must have heard that one. He thought, my balls are big. I'm going to do
it. Hey, the Verse is jacked. Jesus Christ. So yeah, there's probably some balls on that one. Yeah, but they're doing 20%.
Yeah,
that's good. Because it doesn't really matter. Like Hyper did 20% Titan X burn, Hydra did 20% Titan X burn. We're just fine. Like after a certain level, buy and burn is the difference between like a 70% buy and burn and a 80% buy and burn is almost negligible. Like
negligible.
You won't see the difference.
That's where the Verse had. He had 20. He thought he wanted to put 28%. Then he's like, let's fucking go 28%. Like, yo, calm down. So it's just, again, that's another, okay, so Alien X launches 20% of the Titan X that enters that is going to disappear. You know, everybody talking the last month or two about you don't have enough Titan X, hyper deflationary is coming. You've been saying people don't even know what hyper deflation is. There's another protocol that's going to eat 20% of everything that goes in. You know, Volt's done a massive job. It's going to continue to do a massive job. Yeah, you don't have enough Titan X is definitely a thing.
I mean, it is true. So when you look at the stats page,
right,
roughly a week ago, I took a screenshot and it was 65 trillion Titan liquid. Now we're a week later and we're at 58.8 trillion. But miners still being claimed. So assume we didn't have any miners being claimed, that would probably be 55 trillion. That's insane.
It's a big decrease. Even at this stage, it's huge decrease. And even again, the Titan X price moved up again the last few days, from, I don't even know, it's maybe a 30% pump in the last few days. Take that into account, that the price has gone up and it's still eating away at the supply in the rate that is. I mean, if you run figures on what the target could be of how much supply there is, I mean, that's a hard thing to look at, but with such little inflation coming out and such massive buy and burns and eating at supply, how low could it possibly get?
Whoa, that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's calculable or not, but
maybe a percentage. So currently there's 28.77% liquid. That could go below 20%. Why not? Hyperdeflation? Yeah.
59 trillion. Titan X is liquid. Hydra Volt all alone removed 32 trillion. Yeah. So what? Sorry, I know we keep saying today. It's in the UK today. It's just after 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Is it today? Like it's today in the UK time, as in this could be out in 6 hours time, or are we talking, within the next 24 hours?
Within the next, I would say, 8 to 10 hours.
Nice. Oh, great.
Yeah, because we definitely wanted that October 8th. Because it's a good numerology, some good juju right there,
Yeah. Okay, so people have got, the Americans have got plenty of time to get prepared today. How many pieces of nicotine gum have you had today to keep yourself sharp?
At least like 9, which is 18 milligrams of nicotine.
Okay, so what's your favorite thing about the farms?
The buy and burn on the farming token. I think that's going to be massive. And then the secondary effect is getting more liquidity in the ecosystem, so big whales can play around. That's going to be big. Because there's a very direct correlation between level of liquidity in a pair and the volume. Like they almost move together. Like it's almost 1-to-1 essentially.
Okay, so what moves it first, volume or people providing liquidity? Is the volume as the volume increases, the liquidity gets pulled with it, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, it's a combination of both.
Just a combination. Okay.
Yeah, because on low liquidity, it's hard to have a lot of volume, but volume also attracts more liquidity. So it's like it's a flywheel essentially.
Yeah, we've all had, we're all here playing. What are we up to? 16,000 users so far. We've had coins popping off. Volt topping the charts. We've had other multiple times. Inferno's been up in the top ranks in Ethereum, and we are still not saying unknown, but we're still so small compared to the potential that's out there. So, like, you've been saying over the last while, things like borrowing and lending, farms can bring in these massive whales with their big liquidity, juicy, fat liquidity bags. And farms could be one of the things that really helps to start get that going. But the volumes and the liquidity pools of a lot of the tokens we have already are very impressive. Even what Steve DeFi's done with Volt is freaking insane. The liquidity in that pair is, it's huge for what it is. A coin 10 days old, and I think is there 1.6 million liquidity in the pool already? Something crazy like that.
More. Yeah, it's more than that. So it has 1.5 million in Volt liquidity and 1.8 million in Titan X liquidity.
Insane.
And 2.8 million in volume. Steve, what the
hell? Yeah, they're insane. That's numbers. Impressive. Yeah.
It's still number 5 on Ethereum. Still 10 days in. That's like what Titan X did at the start. It's very similar. Yeah, that has been massively impressive launch for Volt.
Yeah, and also you're looking at the way Inferno went. Obviously, the whole mint period just went up and up and up, and then it blew off for about another 2 weeks after the mint ended. So although Volt doesn't end, it's hard to know what they expect after day 10. You know, I was actually adding them a stack yesterday on the dip yesterday, kind of thinking, right, okay, it's worth nibbling a little bit more. But again, interesting to see what way the price chart goes.
I mean, Volt still has things being built on top of it. So
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting because now it has a big stash for buy and burn. It's deflationary starting now, essentially, because all the supply is out today, like 15 minutes ago. And so it's a bunch of buy pressure is deflationary, has building on top of it. Like I think Justin is building on it with Lotus.
Yep.
And then he has a Volt wheel coming. So Volt could be a very interesting case study. Like Inferno was a massive innovation on how to bring a coin into existence. Volt is another form of innovation on how to bring a token in existence. Because usually in the past, like, auction systems have been arbitrage machines that slowly decay in terms of supply emitted every day. And Volt kind of turn it on its head. By 10 days, you get all the tokens. And then from there on, it's 20% of whatever is bought off market in the Vault. So like there's so much innovation happening. So like a lot of builders are now using the Inferno model to bring something into existence quickly. So it's gonna be crazy, like what kind of launch mechanics we're gonna have a year from now. Like what will end up being like the best one, you know?
Yeah, I did see somebody else saying about doing, you know, somebody else already. I don't know who it was. I just seen it yesterday that somebody else was already thinking of doing a Volt style launch somewhere else within the ecosystem. I was saying on a stream a couple of weeks ago just that, you know, obviously the fur launch is a massive thing. But it's all, not just, you know, the fact that we've got 3 or 4 different variations of what a fur launch is already in the ecosystem. So it's like you starting off with the idea of, you know, looking at Zen, looking at Hex, looking at all the awesome coins that were out there, taking it and then building this fur launch. Everybody's coming along going within the ecosystem, looking at what's working best and putting their own little spins on it. And I think Steve did do a great job on that. The way he done the thing that he did with the liquidity, that there's, you know, there's just constant liquidity getting added through the protocol was another beautiful little addition to what everybody else has already been doing.
Oh yeah, so Volt had 2 big innovations. So the capped auction, and then auctioning off into the future with supply bought off the liquidity pool. So it's not inflation. And then the slow liquidity add. Yeah, those were the 2 big innovations for Volt. That's a good point.
Somebody asking in the comments, is anybody building on Tink? It's like there's probably somebody already has something planned. And just a couple of comments there. I know we've already covered some of this stuff because it is coming out soon. People need to understand. Somebody's asking there again, will there be impermanent loss in the farms? I hope you don't mind recovering some of the same stuff again. Is that okay?
Yep. So impermanent loss primarily exists in concentrated liquidity positions. So for example, you can go to Titanx Wrapped Ethereum, put a concentrated liquidity position 10% above price, 10% below price, which means that if the price moves up 10%, you're now fully in Ethereum. That's impermanent loss. But with full range positions, it's way less, because when you provide full range, you basically do infinite to the upside, infinite to the downside. So you can never be fully out of position. But what will happen is when you do full range, you get very slowly eaten into with impermanent loss on the way up, and on the way down the same way, but it's way less impact. I would say like it's maybe 1 or 2% of what a concentrated liquidity position is. So with full range, you stand to gain, obviously not financial advice, way more, because it's way easier for the Tink farming rewards to heavily outpace whatever impermanent loss would happen on that pair. So it's some people called it lazy man's farming, which is a good analogy, because you get all the best. You get lack of impermanent loss because it's full range, and you get a buy and burn farm incentive token at a very high APR on a relatively new ecosystem. So it's not like you're competing with $100 million of liquidity. You're competing with a very small amount for a very innovative farming token. So this could be crazy for like years straight. Why not? Because a buy and burn farming token has never happened before.
Yeah, see Johnny Papa Vegas in the comments there saying set it and forget it. He's been doing a great job with their what do you call Titans of LP group. There's about 500 people in there constantly learning about liquidity providing, single-sided liquidity, not selling into the market to set your positions. They're doing a great job educating people. Again, this is like the dude's coming up with the Element 280 that's launching this Saturday. The Titan X Easy button. This is the Titan X LP Easy button right here.
Yep, exactly. And I think another thing that we might see happen is when people exit the ecosystem, they might just only sell half and go into an LP pair and chill. There's so many like secondary, tertiary benefits of having like innovative farms. I'm gonna be staring at it to see what people do this week. I'm so curious.
It's like, okay, it's like everybody, okay, wanting to increase what's a one kind of game plan. You've got your Titan X bag, but you don't have enough, so throw a little bit in here, get a little bit more, recompound into something else, and it's like, okay, so you can now take a portion of your bag that you don't want, maybe you don't want to risk, but you don't want to risk too much, but you do want to earn a little bit. You can just go and stick, like Johnny's saying there, just stick it in the farms, take a small percentage, maybe. If you want to go heavy, but maybe take a 10% of 2 coins that you have, just stick it in the farms, and then you just have that tank that comes in that you can use it to, play and do whatever you want with. Buy pressure. We've seen like over on Pulse Chain, Inc. has ripped before. A lot of people thinking it can rip again. What would be an incentive to buy in Tink? Why would anybody buy it?
Why would anybody buy Ink? It's just
Exactly.
a token that has liquidity and an interesting chart. So people might just swing trade it. There's a lot of interesting things that can be done there. Because once a farming token builds a supply base, so like going from 1 to 100 is a 100x increase in supply. Going from 100 to 1,000, it's only a 10x increase in supply. From 1,000 to 10,000 is only a 10x increase. From 10,000 to 100,000 is also only a 10x increase. But then once it kind of hits 100,000 or whatever, the supply inflation becomes almost negligible and you just get an interesting price chart.
It was the same for what I always thought for Blaze. In Blaze, we were in the first few days, you were doubling your supply, and I was hoping, okay, well, let's wait till we get past day 100, and then your inflation's less than 1% a day. It's a big difference from your supply doubling at the start to going down to 1% increase. So yeah, exactly the same thing for incentive token, and they do have pumpamentals. We have these incentive tokens can pump, especially if there's whales in the system and just people generally speculating.
And what if somebody builds on Think,
That's somebody asking. Is that a hint from you that there might be something coming?
I mean, there is very interesting things you could do. So like, here's a hypothetical. You create a token and you're like, okay, let's use Titanx and Volt in this example. You use Titanx, Volt, you go into the protocol, it gives you a token. So let's say let's assume it's the same price, 50 billion Volt, 50 billion Titanx. You go in here, you put your tokens into the protocol to mint this other token, and this other token gets bought and burned based on the LP fees earned on Titanx Volt, and then it's paired with Tink, and Tink just buys and burns that token. There's a lot of interesting things that can be done going off into the future once Tink has a supply base. That might just be an extra buy and burn built on top of another protocol. Like it doesn't have to be the core design of it. It could be like a small percentage of it.
Yeah.
But like with Tink, you can essentially create external buy and burn sources similar to Dragon X with its staking payouts from Titan X. But you can do it with Tink farms. So like builder minds are going to be turning, man. Like there's so much stuff that can be linked together in such an awesome way.
Yeah, because if obviously there's a buy and burn in there as well, but if somebody comes up and there could be a thing, if something decent was built on it, it could be something that does stop it from inflating.
Yeah. All you need is a good percentage of the supply locked up, because Tink also has this loop where you can earn Tink and then lock it up in the. Well, I say lock it up, but you provide liquidity in the Titan X Tink pool. So that will be a massive supply stink for Tink just from the start. And then if you have a protocol built on top of Tink, and so you have supply locked in the loop, which is Titan X Tink, and then you have the buy and burn eating up Tink supply. All it takes is one interesting build on Tink protocol to just make it do mad things.
Yeah.
Which will drag in more volume, drag in more liquidity, lock up more build on Titan X ecosystem tokens. Yeah, we're going to see some crazy game theory unfold.
Yeah, I really do think, okay, so you potentially, it's for, the next 10 hours or so, there's going to be more fireworks in the ecosystem. Yeah, exciting times. And so this project, Titan Farms, is built by just Eric, or was it? It's just Eric's team. Yeah, you're not involved in that
Yep.
one.
Nah, I'm just doing the marketing. I helped design the game theory a little bit, but all the building and stuff and the UI has come from them. And they're good. Like fucking, that team is amazing. Like smart as fuck. Like that's one of the developers I can talk to and just go bar for bar. Like he's on the same level. It's fucking so good. Yeah, he understands liquidity very, very deeply. Yeah, and the idea for the swap pads came from him. That came from him. So with the buy and burn, so let's assume a farming pair has an input token TitanX. That TitanX will buy DragonX first and then buy Tink. So it pushes up the DragonX price while buying a burning Tink. That innovation came from him. So like, to understand these swap pads and stuff, you need to be very, very deep into liquidity stuff and understanding these pools and pairs and how they impact each other. Yeah, dude's a genius, seriously.
So where will do you know where the announcement will be for the actual launch, or where people can find the details of the correct URL? Where will that be announced? You know yourself, just the scammers are everywhere. Where can people look to find this stuff? Do you know yet?
So one of the URLs, but this will probably be later, will be farms.titanx.win. So the normal
I really like the way
website.
everybody's keeping these the same, so they're just quite easy to find. So farms.titanx.win.
Yep, but that will be later on. So and I'll think Eric will announce it.
Okay.
On his Twitter, just ignore everything else. You'll get all the contract addresses, etc., from the UI. The contract addresses will likely not be posted anywhere. So whenever you see a contract address posted somewhere, assume it's a scam that will steal all of your money. But you'll be able to go to the UI, and all the contracts are going to be below, just in the footer like any other.
Okay,
next thing.
Who's just on this and the launch of things for people to know? I mean, people are going to be rushing into this. Do you need to get?
Okay.
This
is important. You won't need to rush in, because the way it will work is you'll be able to get your positions in, and then Think will start emitting, I think, tomorrow. So people have a good couple hour window to get their liquidity positions in. You're not rushing to get the first thing. People are going to have a fair shot at getting a fair distribution at the start.
Yeah, just
which is also another innovation.
Just kind of thinking, is it one of these things where you're in first and you're getting these massive, crazy 100,000% APYs and all this kind of stuff, and people will rush in like crazy, FOMO in to maybe things they don't need to be doing. So there's no real rush. You're going to have plenty of time once this launches to get your liquidity position set.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So wait until the official announcements. Get the contract addresses from the footer of the website. That is, Eric is probably going to share it.
Oh,
and that's it.
Luke D is just mentioning there that let's have a look. He's saying Eric's posted something. Let me get a look.
I'll also post his Twitter here in the comments. So we have the right one.
Let's see.
It's x.com/G1Eric. I'll also post it after on my Twitter. So I ignore everything else. Ignore Telegram, ignore DMs, because nobody's going. Launches are busy as fuck. Nobody's going to DM you a contract address during launch. They're trying to scam you, and there's no FOMO. Like there's no rush. You'll have time. You don't need to be the first one in.
Yeah, what's he saying here? Titan Farms will launch. It was early. That was about 10 minutes ago. Titan Farms will launch in a few hours. I'll post the official contract addresses and websites. So yeah, Eric's saying he's going to post them. Tink emissions will start at midnight, but you can create positions before then. Per supported on launch. Wheat Titan X. Oh, Wheat is in there too. Lovely. Get the big boys in. Titan X Hyper, Dragon X, Titan X, Dragon X Hydra, Titan X Tink, Titan X Volt. Insane.
Yep.
So midnight.
I'll also put sweet in here.
I just hope that's is that midnight UK time, or that means it's going to have to be launched. That means it's going to have to be launched sooner. I wonder where.
I think UTC. So UTC is the Ethereum time zone, the blockchain time zone.
Yeah, so it's like 2:30 p.m. UTC right now. Okay, so 10 hours or so. So it's going to need to be launched pretty damn soon. Oh, that's crazy. What else did he say?
And people thought I was gonna get calmer after Volt auction. Ha! Joke's on you. There's no rest here.
So yeah, there really is no rest, no rest at all. We got Titan Farms launching today. Emissions going live in 9.5 hours. I think that is that right? Yeah, about 9.5 hours. People, there'll be in fairness, there's another new token, another new chart, another new way for people to earn more, earn more coins that they can play around within the ecosystem. We have AwesomeX on Friday, Element 280 on Saturday, and that's that's like in the space of 96 hours.
Wait, what's launching Friday?
AwesomeX.
Oh yeah, AwesomeX, Element 280,
AwesomeX.
Arms. What the
Yep.
hell?
Not the dude. Yeah, the dude's on the Weekly Blaze stream tonight. So we're streaming in, what would it be? 9 p.m. UTC. So we'll maybe be able to look at the farm site on the Weekly Blaze show tonight. That kicks off 10 p.m. UK time. So there might be, we might even be still live whenever the incentives. I'll have to. It sucks whenever you're live when something's happening. You have to try and create. I want to create a position straight away just to play. But the dude will be on that show tonight as well, talking about the launch of E280 on Saturday.
Nice.
What else is happening this week? Dave, AwesomeX, obviously AwesomeX is launching on Friday. He's going to be doing a 5-hour stream, 3 hours before the launch, through the launch, and then 2 hours after the launch on Friday. He's doing a Mike Dean stream as well the day before Thursday. He's going to be the day before launch. It'll be handy for everyone to have one of Mike Dean's infographics to make everything nice and smooth and easy. So yeah, it's a crazy 96 hours ahead. And somebody in the comments saying ORX Ouroboros next week.
Oh yeah, also. God damn. This is entering hyper-deflationary with a bang.
Yeah, I heard you say the other day that the timing is perfect. Fuck me. I don't know if it could get much better.
Right? And we're not even hyper-deflationary yet.
Yeah.
Although we've been deflationary for 8 days in a row.
Did Volt kickstart that?
That was a big part of it. Yep.
Or was it coming anyway? Let's see. The train ain't stopping at any station. You got that right. You better have your
know something funny.
back. You go.
I don't eyeball people's wallet, but I saw a couple big sellers, like 150k, 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 etc. There were, in the last 72 hours, 11 of the top 50 dumped in one clip and provided single-sided pre-position to above price to try and keep the price down. So that looked like a coordinated effort of malicious whales because they didn't slowly sell, they didn't provide liquidity, they just one clipped that entire stack. 11 of the top 50 whales. Did you notice?
No.
I didn't. Yeah. So the whales are the malicious whales are basically out. This is like universal timing.
So
Crazy,
they just sold like one-off hit sale. It sold 150k in one hit.
150k, 150k, 70k, 90k, 200k, and you don't even see it on the chart.
Yeah. Where on earth would you go? Where these people are smarter than me, but where the fuck are you taking your money and going to?
I mean, this is the thing, right? These whales. So TitanX, because of how it's designed and the build on TitanX ecosystem, it's essentially protected against its own whales, because the whales are not competing with other humans that have emotions. They're competing with smart contracts, emotionless smart contracts. So like Marco made this tweet yesterday. TitanX is like a Terminator movie where the smart contracts want all your TitanX to be benevolent in the ecosystem, but there's no John Connor in this story. The Terminators are just going to win. I was like, damn, that's a good analogy. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. What have we got? Read between the lines. That was the thing that was said with Mo the other day. Read between the lines. I think if you, in fairness, Bad Sports called it yesterday. He said that Titan Farms launching definitely on the 8th. He actually put it in the mastermind chat last night. Is this too obvious? But I think once he said it, it really was pretty damn obvious.
Yeah, because it was 50-50. Like 8th of October was the timed launch date, but we didn't know if the second audit was going to come in flawless, if they had to do like other checkups, do another audit. But everything was fine. So timeline stayed.
It's funny when you think back to that. The launch of Titan X itself at 8 o'clock on whatever date it was it the 8th of October or the 20th? 28th of October at 8 a.m. You did kind of hint at way back then at that stage that it was going to launch, with all those 8s. And it was the first, in fairness, it was one of the first real flawless launches that I participated in. That thing was just, it was like, bang, the website went live and everything just worked seamlessly. There was no delays, there was no messing around, there was no waiting for liquidity to form. Thinking even back to there, it got off to just a great start even back then, and set a great standard for everything that's came along after it.
Oh yeah, 100%. But this is something also very unique in our ecosystem, is we have highly competent builders. Almost all the launches have been fully flawless. Just to get one flawless launch in crypto is like, whoa, this team is amazing. I would just like bam, 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 bam. It's incredible. Like, what the hell?
Okay, as well, and sometimes as well, these things do seem flawless, but the people in the backgrounds are working their fucking asses off, and they're they're sitting there, and they've got their whole reputation, and they're everything on the line. That these things, reputation, and just I don't know, there's money invested in these things as well. So there's a lot on the line. And personally speaking, I know what it's like. Although, like you say, the builders are doing such a great job for us. Like even last week, we had the with the contracts and all deployed, and this is usually what we have. We've got everything deployed. Maybe the day before the launch. So there is none of this running around panicking. But there's just always, yourself, there's always some little thing can kind of throw a little spanner in the works. But yeah, everybody's done a great job so far. Everybody has. Flux was flawless. Volt was flawless. Just seamless, simple. The liquidity pools get formed and everything just flows nice and smoothly. And again, it all stemmed from a very, very smooth launch of Titan X at the start.
Yeah, this is a great way to put it. The hard work makes it look easy. Yep.
Yeah, I suppose you don't have to feel any nerves for this one. If Eric and his team are looking after it, you can just enjoy this launch.
Yeah, the fucking. I say the dev because I'm not sure he wants his name on stream, but he's fucking. Because I've seen his face. I've been on so many calls with him. Like, he's a fucking genius. He's one of the best devs I've ever seen. Seriously.
Sorry, just seeing the guy. Somebody's just come into the comments there. Just dropped in. Are we buying the token NFT or need to add token pairs? That's going back over the same thing again. Do you want to explain that the way the NFT gets created again?
So, from a user experience perspective, the NFT is just smart contracts explaining technicalities. But that's essentially the backend code is Uniswap v3. So it is battle tested code. It will never be hacked, etc. It's existed for years, zero issues. So that's Uniswap code in the backend. The contracts are mainly for managing the swap paths, the buy and burns, the thin commission, the shares of the liquidity, etc. So like everything in the backend is Uniswap, which makes it a lot more secure. Then the other part is, from a user experience perspective, without going into technicalities, you go to the platform, the Titan Farm, and then you just take 50-50 of whatever tokens you want to provide liquidity for to earn Think, and you click deposit 50-50, you approve the tokens, and boom, you're ready to go. So you just need the tokens. You don't even need to go to Uniswap v3, create positions. Just tokens, go to the platform, everything's taken care of in the backend. And the user experience voice.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed again. You nailed that one from the start. It's funny when you read these white papers and there's so much detail and learning all the technicalities, learning how everything works. And some things that are relatively simple when they're written down in a white paper can seem very, very difficult. You obviously nailed that in the early days with the Titan X UI. Very, very simple. And again, that's been learned. You look how easy to use the, you look at the Inferno white paper, and it's talking about all these stats and, ratios decreasing. You literally just, when you see it in a UI, it's like, your ROI button, click, mint and claim. It's so simple. So yeah, I mean, obviously I do expect the same, I'm sure that the Titan Farms will be nice and simple for everybody to use. Obviously you were saying that there'd be the calculator. Is the calculator ready to go, or is that something they're working on to add as well?
Yep. So the UI is going to launch in MVP mode. So you're going to have everything you just need from the start, and everything's going to work. And then the calculator is going to get added in 1, 2, 3 days later. So you'll see the base APR without compounding. So that's already going to be crazy, especially from the start, since not much liquidity is in the positions. So APR is going to show, and then later on they're going to code the calculator, and you'll be able to calculate APY. That's including compounding.
Somebody that hasn't used something like this before, they come along, say, well, what have we got? Say you've got some ETH, so some WETH and Titan X. You come along with $1,000 of WETH and $1,000 of Titan X, and you throw them in. Will it show you? Will you see in real time your little ink rewards tick up, or what way does that? How does that update? Will that be in real time, and you can claim it at any time? Does it update every hour? Does it update every day? What way does that? What way will that show your Tink
That's a good
earnings?
question. So it'll show on you what you'll see Tink earn in real time. So every block that ticks over, so every 12 seconds, you'll see an update and the Tink earned in your position. And then the other thing you'll see, if it's non-input token, like for example, Volt Titan X is an input token, so it gets burned and used for the buy and burn. But Volt is not an input token. So in that case, you'll see your Tink earned and your Volt earned from liquidity fees. You'll see all of that on the UI.
Nice. That's going to be exciting to watch, especially, okay, so there's a lot of, yourself, there's a lot of people in the ecosystem who are, maybe not new, but they're in here and they're still learning. They might not have even experienced some of these things before. It'll be a nice one for them to come in and be able to put these positions and watch their little bags of Tink or their output tokens grow. Nice one.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Obviously, I need to do the disclaimer. Never financial advice. Past performance does not guarantee future performance. You're solely responsible for your own decisions. This is crypto. Everything could go to zero tomorrow. It could all move to zero, but we're lucky none of this works. So there you go with the disclaimer. But I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Tink staking, just having a quick flick through the comments there to see if there's anything. Somebody saying this is whale-proof shit.
It is. Titan X is fucking 11 of the top 50 whales tried attacking Titan X, and all we got was green candles. How fucking insane is that?
All right. Okay. Well, what if day 369 is a fucking catastrophe for the ecosystem? Yeah, something's got to go wrong.
That would be perfect scenario, because then the buy and burns can buy more.
Buy everything, it'd be all gone. Somebody asked, there's a question I've seen there, and Jake, can we use staked Titan X for the farms?
No. There's only one place you're going to be able to use stake Titan X that we know of, and that's X28.
Somebody was asking the other day, can builders build something that uses stakes?
Yes. So there's two ways you can do it. So there's only one way to get stakes out, and that's them being claimable or burning it. So Titan X has functions to burn liquid, burn stakes, and burn active miners. So once your miner is claimed, you obviously can't burn it. But if they're active, you can burn them. And there's a function to call it. You just feed in the miner ID. So as a builder, you can use that. There is a way you could do it where, let's say, for example, 200 million Titan X is locked up in a stake, and you still want to use Titan X to buy and burn your protocol, but you want to give people the ability to access stakes into your protocol, then a 200 million stake, you could add 80% on top of that. So people have to enter with 800 million liquid Titan X, and then the 200 million from the stake. So it still burns 20% of Titan X, but you still provide liquid, so the protocol can do whatever the hell it wants with it. That's one way builders can use it. As of now, I only know of X28 that uses the burning of stakes.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go off in a tangent talking about that one, but just obviously somebody's there asking, well, new project comes along, a lot of people have obviously, they've got miners, they've got stakes, and still, there's not really anything else that's come out to utilize those yet. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough one for somebody to come and utilize. I think X28 could be the perfect thing for it if that goes that way.
Yeah. For X28, it makes sense because it's essentially a derivative on Titan X that trades Omnichain. There needs to be a specific reason.
Somebody else asking there, Jake, what token will have a buy and burn in Titan farms? Do you want to explain the buy and burn again? Obviously, a lot of new people coming in.
Yep. So in Titan farms, you have two versions of tokens. You have input tokens and you have normal tokens. So the input tokens at the start are going to be Titan X, Hyper Hydra Dragon X. Those LP fees are managed by the smart contract. So they each have a burn percentage, and you'll be able to see this on the UI. They have a burn percentage and a buy and burn percentage. So if it's 20% burn percentage, 80% buy and burn, if 1 billion Titan X gets earned from liquidity fees, in that case, 200 million of the Titan X gets burned or sent to the Dragon X vault. It's likely going to be Dragon X vault. And the other 800 million gets used to buy Dragon X, buy Think, burn Think. If that makes sense. Did that answer the question? Yeah, so all the buy and burn feeds to Think, essentially.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. It's not gonna that percentage. It's not gonna buy it's not gonna buy the Dragon X if it's paired with Dragon X. It's not gonna buy the Dragon X and burn the Dragon X. It's gonna go the other way. It's gonna go a step further and buy the Tink and burn the Tink.
Yep, exactly.
Do you need both tokens for the pair? Yes, you do indeed.
Yes.
So everything's always going to be 50-50. Is there anything that can you think of anything that people make get caught out by or things they need to learn? Obviously, for me, it seems quite simple. You come in with your two tokens, you put them in. Is there anything you think that people could, obviously, when you're trying to provide liquidity and you don't know what you're doing, it's very easy to make mistakes. Is there anything in this that you think could be, that might be like something people would need to be aware of? Honestly, I can't think of anything. I think it's all going to be pretty simple. But yeah, is there anything?
I think the biggest risk here is getting scammed. So make sure you bookmark the official farms link, because farms is like the quickest way people see your money in crypto. Because you essentially approve a random contract, you think it's the farm, because copying a UI is relatively easy. So they make the UI seem the exact same. They change one letter in the domain name, and then you just basically literally send your tokens to a scammer. There's no smart contract in the middle. It's just you scammer, you send it to him.
It's the only time.
So that's probably the biggest risk.
The only time I really got scammed was the exact same thing. And there's a copy of a website, looked exactly the same. Had a countdown timer, and it was only whenever the next day when I went back and I seen the countdown timer was back at what it was the day before. I was like, "Fuck," So yeah, no, that's something to be aware of. Yeah, but you learn from these mistakes. Somebody in the comments asking, no Inferno. I think Inferno's not there to start, but I think obviously other coins can get added. Inferno is a massive part of the ecosystem. I would see a time whenever that probably will end up in the farms.
Yeah, I would say so, because Inferno has good volume.
Yeah,
I remember us talking about it.
Yeah, so what needs to happen, so people know what needs to happen for something to end up on the farms? There's other coins, you take outliers in the ecosystem, things like, JakeX or Titan Bitcoin, or things that are out there, part of the ecosystem, they're not going to end up in the farms. What does it take for something to end up in the farms?
So it needs to be symbiotic with Titan X. It needs to follow the ethos, have a fair launch. Yeah, so it needs to follow the ethos, have fair launch, have the right pairs. It doesn't need to extract from the ecosystem, because some protocols, when you support them with farms, by giving more value to the protocol, you're causing more people to sell into Ethereum because they need it for some kind of protocol, etc. So it's only going to be for things that are extremely symbiotic to the ecosystem and that follow the ethos and have enough volume. So like, for example, for a sustained period of time, like Inferno is probably good because it has good volume, good period of time, good adoption in the community, because there is a trade-off. You could, in theory, add everything to a farm, but then you're on the risk of giving Tink to a pair that has almost no volume, so it doesn't give any buy and burn to Tink. So then it becomes a negative flywheel instead of a positive flywheel. So you want high volume, high adoption tokens in the farms because it feeds the farms. So it needs to be worth the trade-off of adding the extra pair. Inferno will probably be added, pretty sure.
Okay, cool. So there's another question here that's kind of interesting. So I just had a friend tell me he has very little liquid at the minute. Would it make sense to establish a smaller position initially and just build it, or wait until you have a larger amount of liquid? Obviously, this isn't financial advice, but just what's your take on that?
You can start small and add. Like, you can always add to your position. Like, that's not the end of the world.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. You know, it's like anything; it's just percentages, really. You know, you will earn a smaller percentage in a smaller position, but you're still going to earn. And it's whether that earning rate is good enough for you. Whether you know if you think that that's a good enough earning rate, if there's a calculator there, or you throw some in and you test it out, you'll be able to see what you're earning. If it's enough for you and you think you're getting a good enough return, you can leave it there, add more to it. You know, your tank, you know, you may be able to sell your tank and continually add to your position. So I mean, it's just a matter of, again, if you're not familiar with these things, it's a matter of, you know, like everything, be careful, start off small, and as you grow in confidence, then you know you can get more, maybe you earn more, and you grow in confidence, you can start to add to your position. So yeah, no, by all means, it doesn't matter what size your bags are. If you've got 50% of each coin, you can come and join Jake and his good friend behind him there in the farms.
It's honest work.
Somebody has to do it. Oh, nice. Okay, look, this is we're gonna need to get somebody out. I need to go. I'm sitting at work here. I need to actually go and act, what do you call it? Shut the offices down, and go home. It's just left
Nice.
everybody.
Me shutting my office down is closing my door.
I
That's it.
know. Yeah, just it is. Do you want me to invite and try and stay on here until we invite somebody else up to take over from me, or do you want to call it a day?
I'll
Or
probably do a stream at somebody else as well. 'Cause I don't have anything to do. I don't need to stress about development. So I'm here. I'll probably stream with somebody else as well. Maybe Mo, because I saw him just comment.
let's see. Let's see before it disappear on you. See if there's anybody in. I'll stream Mo. Can you, I'll DM Mo the link, and then he can maybe join here before I disappear. Let me see.
Yeah, or maybe I'll go on his channel. There's like 2 streams. We hit the algorithm twice, you know? It's good. Alright, I'll DM him. Appreciate you coming on, by the way, because I was hammering Twitter. Urgent. I need somebody to stream it.
No, I was like, yeah, I was going, oh fuck. I was just off like I've got, obviously I run a business. I've got shitloads of things to do. I've got, you know, there's just crypto going on 24/7. I've just finished like a 1.5 hour call with Dave from AwesomeX. And I sat down to get back to work to catch up for what I'd missed the last couple of hours. And Josh is messaging me, urgent. Jake wants to stream. It's like, oh fuck, let's do it. Is it not going to miss this opportunity? So yeah, no, thanks for streaming with me, and it was a great chat. I'm excited that these are here. Really, you know, loving everything that's going on in the ecosystem. Loving all the things that we're building, loving all the things that I'm playing in. And this, like we said a few times, is an absolutely awesome addition to the ecosystem for everybody. And that it's just funny, that guy asking there about, you know, big bag, small bag. This is something for everybody, you know, something for absolutely everybody in the ecosystem. The big guys can come in and take their big chunks, but you know, yeah, for the little guy coming in, a nice easy way to learn about LP, a good entry in point into LP. And you might not be actually liquidity providing, so to speak, in full, in you know, when it's in its fullest term. This farms is simplifying it for you, but it's another great thing that everybody in the ecosystem can get in, join, and earn more tight necks or more money. So yeah, great job, Jake.
Yeah, this is ecosystem wide. Like, this helps everything, which is why it's such a big event, you know? It's nice.
Yeah, another thing as well, just before I disappear as well, obviously this is Eric's project. Congratulations to Eric. Hope the launch goes smooth. I don't expect any hiccups anywhere. You know, these guys are all very well prepared, everything well audited, and yeah, just get well soon, Eric. I hope this is you know, giving you a new lease of life and you're getting over your illness.
He's watching Batman movies. I keep seeing him post Batman stuff. Like, oh, he's going through his villain arc. He'll come back as Bane.
That's right. Yeah, the villain. Yeah, you need to pack on some muscle too.
I'll go and stream with Mo, I think.
All right,
I
man.
appreciate
See
you
you
coming
later.
on, man.
Yeah,
Seriously.
all right. Cheers.
Yo.